Welcome back to the podcast, episode 4. And on this episode, we are going to speak about pregnancy after loss.
Yeah, so just us today.
Just us.
Just us, no guest. But yeah, following on from our first podcast, talking about losing Elijah and the trauma, and how we've dealt with or are dealing with that, how we are still dealing with that, but in a different way now that obviously we're pregnant again. So yeah, I mean, going back to initially losing Elijah, I think we both kind of agreed relatively soon that trying again is something that we would want. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah. Actually, we spoke about it very, very soon after, didn't we? Not to... It sounds really bad, doesn't it? Because you never want to... Obviously, we just lost Elijah and we're speaking about future pregnancies, so you always feel bad, you always feel guilty. But also, obviously, you need to think about your future as well, don't you? Like, we've always wanted kids.
Yeah.
And I know Elijah is still our child. Obviously, we want to try again, don't we? We want to...
Yeah, and this is something that in the early days, I remember reading a lot of blogs because I felt like an immense guilt because I did want to try again.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to wait a year, 2 years. You know, it was something that for me, I wanted, you know, relatively soon. And for me, it was almost like, it was like a desperate need to be pregnant again. And I didn't understand it. And I was thinking, why the hell am I feeling like this? Like, why do I want to be pregnant again? And I read a hell of a lot of blogs in that. I remember when we were away, you know, reading how I was feeling about obviously losing Elijah, then all of these emotions and feelings that I had afterwards. And this one stuck out to me about how I felt that need to be pregnant again. And it's actually quite normal. You know, I've read so many blogs from other women who have gone through pretty much exactly the same situation and how they also had like that burning desire to be pregnant again. And it's got nothing to do with, because obviously in the beginning you feel really guilty because you think, you know, what if he thinks I'm trying to replace him, which is not the case. Like, no one's going to replace Elijah. He's always going to be my firstborn son. He's always going to be the one that made me a mum and made you a dad. And I can't put it into words. I can't explain it. And I think unless you've experienced it or unless you go through it, it's hard to understand. And I think it was just, for me, partly that we have wanted children for so long. And it was just wanting to bring a baby home. Yeah. Which obviously we didn't get to do with Elijah. So I think pretty soon on, within the first couple of months, we had that conversation where we said that we would like to start trying again. Yeah. And I think I'm kind of glad that we were both on the same page with that one. It wasn't a case of, you know, I was ready, you weren't, or vice versa. We were both very much on the same page with it. And there are lots of couples out there that are not on the same page and don't want the same things after going through something like this, which I think must be so, so hard. You know, especially the way, just remembering that burning desire that I had. And it was kind of weird because I had it and then it went away. And then I think it was a couple of months after I was like, no, I need to be pregnant again. Now we need to be trying, and I need to be pregnant by X amount of time. And it was almost like putting that pressure to get pregnant again. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was a couple of months after we started trying.
Yeah, a couple of months after, but obviously I went through a difficult phase with my own hormones, so I might as well go through it, to be honest, from the start. I might as well tell everyone. So, when did I get tested? So we lost Elijah in May the 3rd, which is coming up very soon, next week. And I feel like a month after, I thought, let's get my sperm analysis done and just see where we're at, because it's been a while. I was back as an assisted bodybuilder, not taking a lot though, like a TRT dosage, but obviously it still affects you. So I thought, let's go and get tested to be on the safe side before we start trying again. And it came back with 0 swimmers, and I actually bought a home test.
I remember because we thought it was broken. We
yeah,
thought it was wrong.
I bought a home one. It's got like loads of good reviews and it's won awards. And I was a bit like, oh, let's just try it. It's like 2 for £100, which is pretty cheap. So let's just try it, see what it's come back 0. I was like, rubbish. I was like, it must be broken, it must be broken. It can't be 0. And then I went private then and came back 0. The doctor actually rang me like half hour later and was just like, listen, at your age, having 0, there's only 2 things really. 1, you're infertile, or 2, you're you do bodybuilding. So I must have put it on my questionnaire. And he's like, obviously, the bodybuilding. When I spoke to him on the phone, obviously I explained my situation and just said, I just lost Elijah a month ago. And he couldn't pick, he said about the stress.
Yeah.
The amount of stress that my body had gone through, or our bodies had gone through, obviously talking about...
Well, you're talking about your hormones now.
Me now. The amount of stress that I've been through kind of damaged your hormones so bad to the point where you will have no swimmers. But obviously he couldn't pinpoint if it was the TRT or if it was the...
yeah, I guess they can't say it's explicitly one thing or the other.
But obviously it's probably a mixture of both.
Yeah, because also don't forget that you did a photo shoot prep and you did that photo shoot in the April and you pretty much treated that like a bodybuilding
so
prep.
So it was pretty lean.
So you already had stress from that, and then obviously the stress within a couple of weeks after that of losing Elijah.
So it wasn't nice a month after, already in a bad place mentally, to then realise, oh shit, I've got no swimmers. So to add that into the mix was a bit, not panic, because I never panic. I know I don't really panic like that, do I? But I feel like I was a bit like, that's not what I need right now. So that just added more stress to the mix, which didn't help. But then
I think it did kind of, I think it hit us both because we weren't expecting 0.
No, exactly.
We thought that it might have been lower because of obviously the stress and the trauma, but to have 0, I think, for me personally, I just thought, oh my God, we're never going to have another child.
Yeah.
I had that
That
panic.
was my first, because I've never had a 0 test back before, 2. But that was my first thought was like, shit, like, Elijah's passed. And my second opportunity might never come now. So then you start getting angry then more than anything. I won't get into
angry because also we shouldn't have been even thinking about that at that point.
No.
It shouldn't have even been a thing because Elijah should be here.
Yeah, shouldn't be in that position. And you start getting angry and throwing blames and stuff, but obviously we won't get into that. But then obviously the good thing about testing, so if anyone's in that situation, go get tested. It's about £100. At least you know where you are then. And there's ways of like getting your hormone levels back, and it's not a guaranteed thing, but luckily, touch wood, the process I did managed to get back nicely.
Yeah, and on reflection, pretty quickly, although it didn't feel quick at the time, it felt like forever. But I think you got your results in the July, that it was 0.
No, June.
Was it? June?
I think it was June, yeah.
Oh, so in the June, and then by October, they were pretty...
Way quicker than that. I think it's normally your sperm regulates every 3 months, so how do I say this in a good podcasty way? So every 3 months, like, new sperm will be...
It's like a new cycle,
new
so
cycle.
they regenerate.
So what comes out is 3 months old, pretty much. So that's how long it takes for new live sperm cells to redevelop. So you've got to wait if you're going through some sort of, I don't know, like process to get them back.
If you're trying to improve
your
your sperm levels,
it's going to take 3 months. So you can do that by obviously supplementation, healthy foods, cutting out drinking. There's a lot of things you can do, and we'll go into that.
A lot of lifestyle things.
A lot of lifestyle changes. It's going to take 3 months, so it takes a long time. It could take longer. But
well, yeah, that's minimum of 3 months.
3 months. So luckily, I can't remember the exact figures. It's on my phone actually, but I think it went from 0 to like 100 million or something, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it went up, and I was quite surprised at how much it did
actually increase. I remember going to get my blood test then at Kratos, so shout out to Kratos. Kratos Medical in Cardiff. He was just like, bloody hell, you're a beast, you are. He was like, that's recovered well. So that just makes me think that a lot of it was down to stress more than anything, because my body recovered very quickly. And although I was still stressed, obviously, I had.
Well, you were taking precautions to actively manage your stress.
Yeah. But yeah, so all that did not help. And obviously got myself into a much better position hormonally. And then that's when we really started to try then, didn't we? So, but then we also went through some stressful times with work that didn't help as well. And it just makes it just shows, like speaking about it now, how much stress impacts you when you're trying for kids, like massively. Hormones, like putting too much pressure on yourself as well can have a massive
And
effect.
I think I definitely did that. You know, looking back now, we started trying in August, but literally, realistically, we knew deep down that it probably wasn't going to happen anytime, but we were just starting to go. Yeah, exactly. You go through that process of, you know, waiting for ovulation. Once ovulation is there, obviously you try, then you've got the 2-week wait, and you go round and round in that cycle. And for anyone going round and round in that cycle, it's just so consuming, and it can be so stressful. It's just an emotional roller coaster. You do get your hopes up. Like once you start trying, you start planning. You think, oh, well, if we've conceived this time, you know, we'll be pregnant for this amount of time, and baby will be born then. And you start thinking about things. You start looking ahead. And then when it's, oh no, you're not, disappointment. You feel deflated. You start thinking, you know, if what's wrong? You know, why is it not happening? So yeah, I think although we started trying in the August, realistically, we knew that until we got your results back, it probably wasn't going to happen, but you still get your hopes up. And then, was it October?
Well, even though I had my test back, I had 2 back, and they were getting better and better, we still didn't conceive for a few months after. So, like, that's what I mean. You, like you said, you nailed it there. Like, it is a roller coaster, because you're trying, so your hopes are up, so you're going up and up and up, and then you're waiting for that test, negative test, and it's just you get emotional, you hate it, you just it's hard, it's brutal.
And I feel for people who go through that for months and months and years, because it's just such a hard journey to be on. And I think it's hard anyway, but in the back of my mind I was always thinking, well, I shouldn't even be having to do this, because Elijah should be here. You know, we shouldn't even be trying again for another child this soon. So you have like the frustration and the anger that you're going through that again when you wouldn't have been if Elijah was here. So yeah, it's hard, but then I think just trying to remember in the back of our mind, like, we want to bring a baby home, you know. I mean, for me, I've always wanted quite a few children if we were able to. So I think I really had to think about, even if Elijah was here, like, this would be something we would be doing at some point to try and help with the guilt. Because I still feel guilty now. Like, we're 6 months pregnant, and I still have days where I feel guilty.
I've always said from day one, though, that if we had the chance to speak to him, I don't know, if there was like a miracle thing we could do to speak to him, he would say to us that he wanted a little brother or sister. Well, now a little sister, we know. But obviously, I always said that, and I know it's obviously like it's different for you, I feel, than for me, because you carry the baby. So I feel like the bond you carry is a little bit different than the dad, obviously. So you've got to go through all that again. It's very easy for me to say I don't have to do anything. My job is done from the get-go.
No, it's not, because you support me.
I know. But you know.
Yeah, and I think also in the back of my mind was every month that went by when we were trying, it's like, we've just lost another month. We've just lost another month. And I'm thinking about, and I think I put a lot of pressure on myself and probably us, because, you know, we're getting closer to mid-30s. And I think naturally as a woman, you do think about your biological clock. And, you know, for me, I didn't envisage having children later on in my 30s or, you know, into my 40s. That's not something that I planned. Obviously, life doesn't ever work out how you think it will. But I think that was also something I was putting pressure on both of us, I think. And that doesn't help, again, when you're trying to conceive.
And I feel like the more you rush and the more you try, the harder you try, the less a chance it's going to happen. Like, everyone said it to me, you just need to relax, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah, how do you relax when you are so desperate for something,
I know.
And it's all you can think about every day? you're like thinking, whatever phase of that kind of cycle that you're in, whether you're waiting for a period or whether you're waiting to ovulate or whether you're in that ovulation window, you're always it just consumes you. So it's easy for people to say, just relax, just try not to think about it, but you do.
And I guess we we still are now, but we were still in mourning as well, really. So
well, exactly, we were grieving. It was still really fresh, really raw. So I just think, it was just a wild mix of emotions, and it was it was hard, but I think just trying to remember the end goal, ultimately obviously wanting to give Elijah a brother or sister. Obviously now we know it's a girl, so sister. And trying to remember that it's something that we would have done at some point, because we would have liked to have tried for more children if Elijah was here. So it's hard, but it's just trying to keep that positive mindset, I guess. And then obviously December we found out that we had conceived. So realistically, it wasn't that long, but when you're going through it, it feels like a lifetime.
It does feel like a lifetime.
Yeah.
And like you said, that not wasting, but counting the months down.
Yeah.
So like,
you wish time away.
It's weird because it feels like it goes quick, but it doesn't at the same time as well.
When you're in it, it's slow. But then when you look back, you think, oh my God, like that just flew. Like now it's almost a year since Elijah passed. And it's like, where's that year gone? Like it's just flown by. So I think that, it didn't actually take us that long to conceive. It was only a couple of months.
Lucky.
I'm very, very fortunate and very lucky that it didn't take too long. So we found out then just before Christmas. And it was a weird feeling. Obviously I felt excited, but then, I don't know, I think it just brought back sadness. Obviously, I think it enhances your grief.
Yeah, I feel like you really struggled for the first 6 weeks, didn't you? Maybe a bit longer than that, actually. Whereas I was like pretty excited. You got
excited. I think for me, I couldn't get excited because I just thought it could all go wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's only recently where I've kind of allowed myself to get more excited.
Yeah. I feel it was way longer than 6 weeks actually for you. I feel like it was past the 12-week point. I feel like even the first NHS scan, you were still not like you were not excited, but I think it was more the anxiety and the fear took over, overcome like the excitement.
It clouded the excitement.
Yeah.
When you go through loss, when you go through pregnancy after loss, the innocence and I don't know what the word is, but so like the innocence of pregnancy is almost taken away.
Yeah.
Because in the back of my mind, as soon as we got pregnant, I was thinking, well, we could miscarry. If we don't miscarry, we could lose the baby at any point in this pregnancy, because obviously we lost Elijah right at the last. He was literally due. Mm. So for me, in my head, I was like, I've got 9 months now. Of worry, of anxiety. Things might not work out how we want it to. How the hell am I going to go through that if it doesn't?
Yeah.
So I think it was, it's very much clouded. I think I had, and I still do have like days, but they're less and less now. The way I describe it is, in the beginning, I was anxious all of the time. Whereas now, I might have a day or in the lead up to a scan, I'll start to feel a little bit more anxious, because I think that for me is one of the most traumatic parts is being in that scanning room and then telling me that there was no heartbeat. So that every time we're leading up to a scan, I'm thinking, what if she's not okay? Yeah. What if something's wrong? So I think it took me a while, but now those, that the gaps in that anxiety is getting a little bit bigger. So I'm not worrying about it every single day.
I feel it helps a little bit now. Obviously, you can feel movement and stuff, which helps.
That helps loads.
Because obviously the first 20 weeks, you don't feel anything.
I didn't know.
So you just know, but you just know nothing, do you? You're just in the unknown.
Well, and this is exactly a thought I had until I started to feel her move. I'd be sat there thinking, are you alive?
Yeah.
Do you know, because you just don't know. And I think knowing that, obviously, baby can pass away for so many different reasons. Now, with Elijah, initially we thought that it was the cord wrapped around his neck, and it wasn't until September. Was it September that we found out that it was actually, obviously he was very small, my placenta was very small, and that I have low protein S, so it's linked to blood clotting, so that there was an issue. It wasn't like a freak accident that happened, which at first I kind of not felt at peace with, but I could kind of accept that there was nothing that we could have done. And then obviously when we had that news in September that actually there was something that could have been done, I think that was just a huge, huge blow. And I think that's still it's always going to be in the back of my mind, because I'm thinking, well, what about this time? Obviously this time around, we've had really, really good care and precautions are put in place, we've got extra monitoring, etc., to manage and monitor things, that didn't quite go right with Elijah. But it's always in the back of my mind thinking that anything can happen.
It's frustrating though when you think back that obviously when we had our debrief and stuff with the doctors, and they're like, the next pregnancy we're going to do this, the next pregnancy we're going to do that, and I was like, in my head I'm just like, I don't give a shit about the next pregnancy. Before now, I do obviously now, but at the time I was like, I'm here for my boy, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that you should have done, you're saying you're going to do in the next pregnancy, and I was like,
but why wasn't it done for him?
Yeah. So it's like, it's hard, and now we've got to obviously we're going through it again, and obviously we are getting extra care, but we're still in the unknown, like, you know what I mean? It's still
Yeah.
you still, like, we went all the way through, so you never feel safe, really. You know
For
what I
us,
mean?
there's no safe zone, and I think that differs for people who have gone through loss at different stages, because for somebody who lost at maybe 12 weeks, once they get past 12 weeks, they may feel a bit of less anxiety, whereas for us, 39 weeks and 5 days. So for me, until baby is here in our arms, like, I don't think that anxiety or that worry is going to go, as much as I'm trying my hardest to not let it consume me, because obviously I don't want that to affect the baby either. It's just an emotional roller coaster. It's hard. It's really, really hard, because it's not just the physical toll that pregnancy takes on your body. And obviously this is pretty much a back-to-back pregnancy, which, I know loads of other women do, and, I take my hat off to them, because it's really hard. But the emotional side of it, not just dealing with the emotions of this pregnancy, but, emotions of, losing Elijah, the trauma, the grief, the worry, the anxiety of how this pregnancy is going to go. Are we going to be able to take this baby home? It's a lot, and it's draining. It can be really, really draining some days.
It's not really something that people speak about either. So
no, and I'm quite lucky that I've met other women who have gone through pregnancy after loss, and I've got a great support network, so I can literally just talk to, I've got lots of, friends and family.
It's easy for people to say, oh, it'll be okay, but unless you've gone through it, like, you know what I mean, there's nothing of that. It's hard. It's definitely difficult for you, like you said. You just nailed it with back to back pretty much as well. So, you said earlier that it didn't take as long to conceive it, and it didn't really compare. Like 7 months, was it? 6 months? No.
Well, only a couple of months of trying.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we didn't start trying.
From giving birth in May to December, it's not long.
No.
So
No.
your body's got to go through all this again.
Yeah, and I think when we first got pregnant, I was like, oh my God, like 9 months just feels like a lifetime. And you just feel like you are never going to meet your baby. It just feels like it's so far away and so far in the distance. And there's all these hurdles that you've got to overcome. But actually time is going quickly. Like now we're sat here now, and it's almost May. So we've only got a couple of months left, and it is going quite quickly.
Yeah, it's going pretty quick.
And I think then the closer that we get, it's not just anxiety and worry about getting baby here safely. I've also started to think, well, what about when the baby is here? They could just, and this is the way my brain works, I'm thinking, well, it doesn't just stop there. I think that worry will always, it will carry on when the baby's born.
Yeah.
And probably for the rest of the baby's life, because I think parents always worry about their children. But yeah, it's just thinking, well, we've obviously had conversations about, sleeping, how it, do you know what I mean? Just those conversations about being parents and obviously looking after a newborn. And then you hear the stories of people losing their babies at that stage, Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like it's a never-ending worry. So yeah, it's a bit of a emotional roller coaster, but I'm trying not to think like that, because otherwise I'll send myself into an early grave.
Well, we do support each other, and that's the main thing, is making sure you do have people around you. Because you might be potentially a single mother. Breakups happen. It's a very traumatic thing to go through, and it puts a lot of strain on relationships. We're very lucky that it actually hasn't put much strain on our relationship, but everyone reacts differently. Like you said at the start, if one person in a relationship doesn't want to try again and one does, that's going to put a hell of a lot of strain on a relationship. Or, you know what I mean? It's like people react differently to trauma. And
everyone's situations are different. But there is obviously this support out there, there's specific pregnancy after loss support groups and books. I know there's a really good book, but I can't remember the name of it now, that can provide support. How do you feel like because obviously I've spoken a lot about my experience being pregnant and going through this, but what about from your perspective, watching me be pregnant again, also with the trauma?
So sometimes I do get worried sometimes, because I always ask you, "How baby moving today? Is she moving?"
Yeah,
I do it subtly, that like
not to piss me off,
not to piss you off, and not to just keep asking you all the time. But obviously that's in the back of my mind. But obviously, if she wasn't moving, you would tell me.
Yeah.
But it still worries me. I'm a very relaxed type person though, so I try and not This is the hardest thing I've ever been through though. Obviously, normally I'm very. What's the word I'm looking for? Relaxed, and nothing really phases me.
No, you're quite chill.
So I just take things with a pinch of salt and just get on with life. But this one's been pretty difficult, and it is hard to shake it. Sorry, my laptop keeps going off. It is hard to shake it, because you're always going to have worry. And like you said, until she's in my arms, I was going to say. Oh, damn it!
It better not be little.
Until she's in my.
She's not going to be impressed if you've got little arms.
No, until she's in my arms and she's coming home with me, and obviously I'm going to be worried, and it is difficult, but I am excited though. I'm buzzing.
Yeah, of course we're excited.
Pregnancy is going very well. We're doing well together.
So far, so good. Yeah, it's very.
I haven't annoyed you too much yet. A little bit. Sometimes you want to bite my head off, but no, it is difficult, and it is always difficult for dads as well, because we've got to be strong for. That's just a male thing to be strong. So we're always.
You definitely be strong for the both of us.
Yeah.
You definitely do that.
But again, then you don't always have to be strong as well. So
no, you don't.
This podcast helps as well, because I don't really open up, so it's nice for me to actually speak.
It's like a therapy session.
It's not even opening up, but this is me opening up. So, but no, it's and obviously I have felt guilt, but not as much as how you feel, because I feel like I said at the start, if he was here, and I know if I could speak to him, that he'd be buzzing that he'd have a little sister. So that's how I always just think about it, and I never really think else of that. So that's how I think, and I just keep that in my head, and he's looking down and he's happy. And I always say that he was our guardian angel, and then as soon as we found out we were pregnant, I was like, now you've got another job now. At the time it was your little brother or sister's guardian angel, but now we know it's his sister's guardian angel.
Well, I think that's the way we look at it, isn't it? That he kind of sent us a miracle.
Yeah.
But I think just going back to the guilt part, it's guilt, but also that I feel sorry for him because he didn't get to be here.
Yeah.
So then I think when I get excited about having, bringing another baby home, it's kind of linked to that, because I just feel sorry for him.
Yeah. But
you said, he would want it.
Yeah. We've got some difficult things to do at home coming up soon, like packing all the larger stuff up, which people don't think about really. When you've had a loss at that stage as well, everything's all set up.
It's all there.
So we've got a full wardrobe of clothes, we've got drawers full of clothes, and a lot of it we will use with our little
this
girl.
Baby.
I was going to say
you were going to say the name then.
No names yet. But obviously we've got to pack some of this stuff up, which is traumatic in itself, right? You know what I mean? And maybe
Yeah.
a lot of people might have done it earlier on, but we just wanted to keep it how it was.
And that's the thing, like everyone deals with things differently, and you know, someone who's going through pregnancy again might have already done it. They might not do it at all. You know, everyone is different. You know, for me, I didn't want to touch any of this stuff, but now obviously it's getting to a point where we need to make room for this baby's things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's going to be difficult.
I tell you what's going to be difficult for me is putting that car seat back in. So I feel that was flipping hard. That was taking the car seat out. So obviously the Thursday we found out Elijah had passed, and I took the car seat out on a Friday, and like obviously taking that out was just horrendous. So but putting it back in, that'll just bring back memories. But I hope it'll be happy memories, obviously.
Yeah.
Like bringing baby number 2 home. I want to say a name, but I can't say she.
Yeah, just say she.
So
or
yeah,
her.
but there's a loads of difficult things coming up that's going to be hard, and we've got Elijah's birthday coming up, and a lot of memories going to come up. That's not going to be nice as well.
Yeah, it's just it's emotional, and I take my hat off to anyone who goes through this if they're able to, because obviously some people are not in the same position as us that have been able to get pregnant again, or maybe have decided not to. So I do feel very fortunate that we are in the position. I think I just try and keep hold of that, you know, of just feeling lucky to be in this position. But yeah, obviously it's not just the emotions of losing Elijah, but obviously hormones, going through another pregnancy again is it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride,
all
but
over the place, and going through trauma and everything. It's just topping it all off, isn't it? But I feel like if like anyone's listening and they may have lost a baby at any stage, there is no like perfect time to try again. It's when you're ready, really.
Yeah.
And guilt's normal. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to feel guilty. Like it's not a bad thing. It's probably normal to feel guilty because you know what I mean, but it's not.
There's no right or wrong way to feel when you've gone through trauma. You know, and if you've lost a baby, like you said, at any stage, because as soon as you get that positive pregnancy test, you start planning.
Yeah.
You start thinking ahead.
And I'm bad for it as well, aren't I?
Yeah.
We always say, "Oh, we're not going to plan ahead," and I'm like, "Oh, where are we going on holiday in November then?"
I'm like, let's just calm down. You know, you start thinking about ahead. You start planning that future, and when that's taken away from you, you don't just lose the baby; you lose the future that you were planning. Yeah. So yeah, anyone going through it again, you know, it's okay to feel. You are going to have days. You know, I have days now where, like just the feeling is overwhelming, where I feel guilty, where I feel, you know, sorry for Elijah, because I feel excited about bringing this baby home. It's okay to feel like that, and there is a lot of support out there, you know, through various charities, organisations. You know, my door is always open. You know, through this, I've met a lot of women, and I've spoken to a lot of women who have gone through very similar situations. And yeah, it helps to talk to someone who resonates with how you're feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not to say that you can't lean on friends and family for support, because I absolutely have. But if somebody hasn't been through this, then they just don't quite understand it, and that's not their fault either. And quite frankly, I'm glad that they haven't gone through it, because it's absolutely awful. Yeah. But they're just not going to quite understand it. So yeah, I think my door is always open anyway.
Same as me. I feel like I touched on this, and we touched on this on the podcast beforehand with Matt. Males, we don't speak enough, and we go through exactly the same grief as the mums go through. I feel like sometimes dads do get overlooked a little bit.
Yeah, I get that.
But we go through it as well. But it's okay to open up to people. Like we don't open up enough. But it's so if like my door's always open, and like friends don't think that your friends won't listen to you, because they will. And it is better to speak to people. Otherwise, you just build it all up, and we be that rock. But yeah, building up sometimes it's not good for you.
It's not, and I think part of it is that something that I experienced, you know, losing Elijah, being pregnant again, like through this whole process, it's in the back of my mind. Someone will ask me, are you okay? And I sit there, I think, do I tell you the truth? Or do I just, you know, do I want to burden you today? Because sometimes that's how it feels. Like I'm burdening you with this emotional dump of trauma. And sometimes you won't go into it because actually you feel like you don't want to burden somebody else. So yeah, that's hard to deal with as well. Whether you actually open up, you know, whether you want to get into it with somebody or whether you don't. But if you are feeling, you know, any of these emotions, letting it out to someone usually does help.
Yeah, it definitely does help. So points really, I feel like if you are going to try again, just don't pressure yourself into time frames, because it happens when it happens. I guess it happened for us. We wanted to happen quicker for us to conceive, but it was probably a good thing that we didn't conceive straight away, because you let your body recover, and we let ourselves, although we're still obviously going through the trauma, we're still upset now. You know what I mean? We're never not going to be upset, but it gave us a few more months just to really figure out what the hell's just gone on.
To just process everything. Yeah. And looking back, when I had like that burning desire straight away to be pregnant, I don't think I would have coped with it well at all. No, absolutely not. So in hindsight, I'm actually glad that we didn't conceive until later on, because I don't think I would have been emotionally in a good place to go through it again. And
like just remember that like stress has a massive impact on your body. So obviously it's easier said than to be like to say to someone, oh, don't be stressed. But when you've lost your child, every day is stressful.
Yeah.
So, but just remember how much of an impact that has on your body, emotionally, hormonally. Like it's just the lack of sleep. You know what I mean? So don't be hard on yourself, and just let life do its thing.
Yeah.
Really. So it'll happen when it happens.
And I think for me, a massive one was just focusing on the next day ahead.
Yeah.
Because I think we both got in our own heads thinking about the next time we can try, about the next time, you know, that we will conceive, and you're always looking further and further ahead. And my brain just couldn't, like, that was just causing me way too much stress. So I never really understood the saying, take it one day at a time, until going through this. And doing things that are going to actually help to calm you a little bit. So for us, obviously training, I started going back to Pilates and yoga, going out for walks and stuff. Being by the sea, that helped us loads when we were going down to West Wales. So just doing things, because you're not going to get rid of that stress, but just trying to calm your central nervous system, I guess.
So our doors are always open. So if anyone is struggling and they want some advice, whatever it is, just drop us a message. And we'll give us our best advice that we can, or just have a coffee, just be there. We'll be present for you.
Sometimes it's just being an ear for somebody to listen.
Shoulder the cry on, or whatever. Rant. I love a rant. So if you want to rant with me, I'll rant back with you. Just don't get me into politics. So thank you for listening. It was a bit of an emotional one, but it's more something that we wanted to speak about, because we know that it will help somebody out there, and this is what these podcasts are for, to help someone and help people open up, and just
know that our door is always open.
Yeah.